What is the weirdest way you think you can fail a driving test? Well, I'm going to talk you through 7 of them. If you've got any other ones that you've heard of or you can think of, leave them in the comments and I might include them in the next video. Usually, just before you finish your driving test, if the test center's got a car park, sometimes they'll get you to drive into a bay just so you're out of the way. The mistake people make here is they'll go too fast forward towards the bay and either hit the barrier or crash into the barrier. If you look at this barrier here, this is taken from Mill Hill Test Center car park, and you can see over time it's leaning to one side because so many people have crashed into it or hit into it or reversed into it. So to avoid this, you should really be using your clutch control so that you don't go in there too fast. Going in there too fast will make you more likely to crash into it, or even if you're not going to crash into it, the examiner is going to press the brake because they're not going to risk you crashing into the barrier. So to avoid that completely, just go in there slowly and then stop before you reach the barrier. Before you start driving, you're going to get given an eye test, and if you wear glasses, or sometimes people don't even know they need glasses, but you need to be able to read the number plate from 20 meters away. And some people have struggled with this where they can't actually read the number plate, not realizing they needed glasses, and then because of that the test can't go ahead and it's classed as a fail because you failed to do the eye test. So before you go for your driving test, make sure you can read it, a number plate from at least 20 meters away. If you can't, it might be worth going to the optician and get some glasses so that you can wear them if you need them to drive. If you're going into a driving test in a car that you're not familiar with, you might not know how to turn the windscreen wipers on. Now, if it's heavily raining, this can actually get you a fail. So imagine now you're on a test and it starts to rain a lot, but you can't operate the windscreen wipers. It's going to be dangerous because you can't see anything. Before you go into a test, make sure you know how to operate the windscreen wipers. It's a good idea to know how to operate all the controls in the car anyway, but especially the windscreen wipers, because if it starts to rain, you want to be able to use them so that you can see clearly. Now, this one, I did a video on this on TikTok, and a lot of people were confused. They were like, how can you fail for this? But waving pedestrians across the road could get you a serious fault. When you get to a situation where a pedestrian is waiting to cross, don't use your arms to gesture them to cross the road, because this could lead them to cross the road when they're not ready, and then another vehicle could be coming that they haven't seen or that you haven't seen, and it could cause a danger for that pedestrian. So in this kind of situation, if they want to cross, just stay still in your car and they'll cross when it's safe for them to cross. Now, this one, I've only ever seen one person fail for this. This was on a country road on a national speed section of the road. It had rained the night before, so there was a huge puddle on the left of the road. And the learner on the test didn't really take into consideration that there's a big puddle there. And bear in mind, this is the national speed road, so they're doing about 45, maybe even more than that. And they've gone straight through the puddle at really high speeds. Then this caused a lot of water to rush onto the windscreen, and they had a bit of trouble steering as well, because at that speed, your wheel, especially if only one side of the car hits the puddle, it's going to get a lot of resistance. Luckily, they managed to control it. The screen was covered in muddy water and they couldn't see properly what was going on until they finally put the wipers on. So they actually failed for that because they should have seen the puddle, slow down, or check their mirror and then go around the puddle, because there was enough space to do that if they'd planned it properly. So believe it or not, some people will go to the test without enough fuel. And this is going to cause you a problem. So if the examiner sees that your car hasn't got enough fuel, they're not going to go out. They're not going to risk going out into the test and then running out of fuel. Then they have to make their way back. Make sure before you go for your test, you've got enough fuel in the car. And also make sure there are no warning lights, especially engine warning lights on your dashboard. If there are those kind of lights on there, the examiner won't take the car out because they'll think it's unsafe. They don't know what's going on with the car. So make sure that your car is good so that they can take it out on the test. If you go for your test and the car stinks of cigarettes and is really smoky in there, examiners have sometimes said, you know what, I'm not taking the car out like this. I'm not going for the test if the car is too smelly. Someone just smoked in there. So if you're going for your test and the person that you're with smokes, just tell them, look, don't smoke in the car for a bit until we finish the test, or just don't smoke at all. Especially don't smoke at the test center, because if they see you smoking in there, there's a strong chance that they won't take the car out. So to avoid all that in the first place, don't smoke in the car before your test. So let me know what you think about all these things that you could fail for. Is it fair? Is it not fair? Are any of them a bit ridiculous? Or if you've got any other ones that you've heard of or that you might have experienced yourself, leave them in the comments and I might include them in the next video. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.